Hey, good evening. Today we're going to do the story of how a narcissist is going to love another person. So, loving a narcissist or how narcissistic people love other people. So, first of all, the narcissist comes from the myth of Narcissus. Narcissus was from the Greek mythology. Somebody who was so much in love with themselves, they were vainly absorbed with themselves that it actually resulted in a fatal, should I say, relationship. I think Narcissus was cast to look into his own image to his death, let's say. So we get the name narcissist from that person who was grandiose, self-absorbed, and all that. So we, in our culture, as we said, we whenever you call out someone, they call you a narcissist. Whenever you do something someone doesn't like, suddenly you are the narcissist and they are the saintly good people deserving of a free ticket to heaven. So I think that's a lazy way of talking. So we're going to use the definition from DSM. It says people meet the criteria for narcissistic personality disorder. So there's such a thing as narcissistic personality disorder, or those who have antisocial personality disorder. I think you should read this in the DSM. DSM is diagnostic manual for mental illnesses in America, let's say. So people meet the criteria for narcissistic personality disorder, or those who have antisocial personality disorder and are on the high end of the narcissistic spectrum, can operate in extremely manipulative ways in the context of intimate relationships due to their deceitfulness, lack of empathy, and their tendency to be interpersonally exploitative. So the people who are very deceitful, they lack empathy, and then they tend to take advantage of other people. So I guess if you probably met such people, or you probably are one. So I guess it's good to know the limits, the definitions, and all that. So I really believe I like philosophy. So in philosophy, we are really heavy on, or philosophy is really heavy on definitions. So it's good to define what narcissism is, or what narcissistic personality disorder is, or what narcissistic behavior is, or who a narcissistic lover is. So for this case, somebody who lacks empathy, is deceitful, and is exploitative interpersonally. And then for the other definition, somebody who is grandiose, somebody who tends to be self-absorbed to an obsessive, vain way. So the love story of a narcissist. We are going to use the book by Shaida Rabi, the book Power. Shaida Harabi has written many books. I guess you can read the books. Okay, so the love story of a narcissist and his or her victim. To the narcissist, romance isn't romance until it's like cocaine. So it must be addictive. It must be something out of the world, otherworldly, let's say. So a drug you begin to sniff daily, hoping his intermittent kindness will numb the cruelty of the color's words and the actions that add up bit by bit to subtract from your daily joy. So you begin, I guess you've seen somebody who's addicted to drugs. At the first, they have some control over how much or how frequent they use the drugs, but then over time they are hooked to it. So to someone who is narcissistic, romantic love is something which is meted out in doses, meant to have you hooked on them, meant to have you dependent on them, let's say. So the love from a narcissist is a potent cocktail of poison and remedy. So they have a really wonderful pattern. They love you enough not to let you go. And then when you're about to go, they bring you back. In fact, they bombard you with love at the first. And then when you notice their cruelty, their repair mechanisms are really quite something. So they bring you back. It's like the intermittency of a drug addict. You'll find somebody who's addicted. They actually swear to God that they are going to leave. They're going to leave the drug once their withdrawal symptoms wear off. But as soon as that wears out, they actually want it again. So love from somebody who's narcissistic is more or less like that. There's love, and then there's coldness, and then there's repair mechanisms to bring you back. So paragraph 2, he, the narcissist, or she, he picks and prods at each flaw, each insecurity, each wound, and when there are no more to be found, he creates new ones, blaming you for your own demise. So there are people who are going to, in a relationship, in a normal relationship, when you show someone that I have an issue with my voice, let's say, they actually seem to protect that. They want to encourage you with that. But somebody who is exploitative and cruel from their insides, they're going to wield that as a weapon against you. So he maims you with the truth of your own humanity. All of us are human after all. We all have flaws. We all get nervous. We all get scared. We all, what do they say? We wear our pants one foot at a time. So once you binged on his affection and now you are starving from lack of his praise. So at the first you were really, this was the perfect lover. In fact, I think it's a kind of a red flag, if I can use that term, when a relationship is more or less too perfect at the beginning. Of course, we mentioned about the in love phase before, where we have rose-colored eyes at the first, but then when suddenly out of nowhere you're somebody's favorite person, and it's let's say a week or two after you met, I mean, that's problematic. It should, I guess, many friendships or many relationships should take time. Even kids take time to trust people. So I think adults should take more time to do that. By this I mean that you're to be blamed for falling in love with a narcissist. You should have known. But if you don't know, at least now you know. So it's really an issue with you. Ignorance is no plea for justice, let's say. Okay, you attempt to restrain yourself from feasting on the love of others while pretending to be satisfied with crumbs. So narcissistic people have a way of yanking you from all your friends. They take you from your parents, they take you from your church, they take you from your society, and then they isolate you from everyone. Whenever this happens, I think it's such a good thing. It's such a good thing. In fact, they usually say when you have somebody who's obsessed with you at the first, it's not a good thing. Obsession is not love. In fact, somebody is obsessed. There used to be something about business whenever you wanted somebody to a company, let's say, to join. When you find that the CEO is obsessed with the company, it's actually good to leave the company, because obsession is not love. In the book The War of Art by Steven Pressfield, the amateur is wildly obsessed about what they're doing. The mature man, the mature warrior, let's say, from the other book by Warrior Magician Lover, is loves something in a healthy way. They're not over the top about it. So sweet lovemaking becomes devaluing coercion. Like, you have to do this, you have to do this. If you don't do it, you love me. And then silence and a colorless smile becomes the response to your pleas. I think you've seen people do this. People, you're really hurting, you're trying to get their attention, let's say, and well, silence and a colorless smile. That smirk people have on their faces. So discrepancies begin to add up, stories begin to self-destruct, lies begin to love themselves, begetting more lies. The ending is packaged with the maximum amount of cruelty in the shortest amount of time in order to leave the biggest impact. So we say these are people who really lack empathy. So they're going to use you, and they're going to, when they're leaving you, they're going to drop you off the sky so that you fall with the worst fall ever, the worst fall of your life. In fact, they usually say people who love narcissistic people actually have PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, because they don't know what happened. They don't know what hit them. Yeah. And then there's always a constant feeling of emptiness. There's something lacking. Some people, especially women, usually claim that you can use your gut to determine whether somebody is real or not. I really don't believe that, but I think when you're with someone you don't trust, in a way, your body can tell you that something is wrong. So when that happens, I think you should walk away at the first. Oh, and this is why women love bad boys. Bad boys, they love you enough. they're unpredictable. They kind of feed you with, let's say, a cocaine 1 week at a time. They give you today, then next week they don't give you. So it's just the same way people get addicted to the slot machine or to the gambling machine. It's called intermittent reinforcement. So you don't know what's coming. That uncertainty is what is makes people really addicted to drugs and to everything else. So the love from, let's say, a bad boy or a bad girl is intermittent. So I guess now you have your answer. So closure is the only fairy tale, a myth, a legend. So when you love someone who's narcissistic, there's no closure. You go from love, then you're devalued, then you're discarded, then you're discarded, like you're cut off immediately. No stories, nothing. So the only true closure can come from within. So it's you to find closure. The other person is not going to help you. So the truth becomes the only mirror you can trust, and sometimes you are the only one who look in it to find yourself again. This is a game you or she doesn't have to win. This is a nightmare you may have to awaken from again and again in order to realize you are no longer dreaming. So this is a type of love story where the happy ending lies not in finding Prince Charming, rather it lies in the realization that he or she never existed at all. So there was no Prince Charming. You're not getting married. You're not falling in love. You're being used. Your sensitivity, your humanness is actually attractive to the person. So let's say a narcissistic person, as you said, cannot love. This is somebody who they're only really in love with themselves. So when you show up, you are a source of what psychologists call narcissistic supply. They love you because you're beautiful or you're handsome or you're rich. So now if I'm a narcissist, which probably I am, then the person I love is an addition to my makeup. If I was a doctor, then now I love someone, I love another doctor. My wife is daktari. If I was, let's say, this, my husband brings, let's say, makes $1 million a year, then now I'm a love of a millionaire. So now I'm worthy because of the person I love, if you get the idea. So the phases of narcissistic love are usually three-phased. We have one, idealization phase, and then two, devaluation, and then three, the discard phase. So in the idealization phase, I remember searching on the internet, there are actually four phases. The first one is called love bombing, and then the other two. So love bombing phase, idealization, devaluation, discard. But then the writer here, or the author here, uses idealization and love bombing are the same. So again, we said when love is too good to be true, if that's possible, when you meet someone on the first day, they're taking you to dates, they're doing this, they're doing this, they're doing this. Well, they could be good people, which is okay. But then sometimes they're trying to, let's say, interweave you in too quickly. They're trying to make you dependent on them. So in the idealization phase, the narcissist is going to put you on a pedestal. Suddenly you mean the world to them. You're really all there is to their day. Again, we said normal friendships take time. The same way men usually have very little empathy to women who fall in love with giga chads and then they are dropped. It's not normal for someone to love you today and then buy you a car next week. It's not normal. That doesn't work like that. It's not because we don't have money. It's because that's the reality. Somebody does not love you today and then next week you have a house. If they're doing that, they probably just want to gain something from you, mainly sex, let's say, or a quick access to who knows what. So idealization phase, there is the pedestalization, and then you're at the center of their world. Then there's constant contact, there's constant texting. I think we've all ever had friends like this. Somebody inboxes you today, and then they're texting you every time. I think the best is usually to maybe give them a cold shoulder, let's say, or block them. So they shower you with flattery and praise. The the aim again is to make you dependent. So you go from let's say this kind of life to that sharp spike. Again, we say that's how bad boys get girls addicted to love, and how bad girls get boys addicted to love. So then too, after the first phase, the love bombing phase or the fairy tale phase, comes the devaluation phase, from the word devalue. So they're not they'd put you in a pedestal, so they're now breaking down that pedestal. So in the devaluation phase, you're left wondering why you are so abruptly thrust off the pedestal. So you're here, then suddenly you're down. So the narcissist will suddenly start to blow hot and cold, again, hot and cold, criticizing you, covertly and overtly putting you down, comparing you with others, stonewalling you, emotionally withdrawing from you, and giving you the silent treatment when you have failed to meet their extreme standards. So at the first, you're this godmother, you're this in the books on philosophy and mythology, there is the idea of a godmother. I don't know if that's the correct term. So this is the perfect mother who is the embodiment of the earth, let's say, spiritus mundi. How do you pronounce that? So the people who are narcissistic, they usually project this image of a perfect woman to their girlfriend or their woman. Then when they find that they are not perfect, they immediately begin to devalue them. So remember, you're loving someone who is at the best a human being. They sleep at night, they use the loo, so these are they begin to devalue you. So let's say you had a really good period of romance at the first, romance on wings, let's say, and then suddenly you're being cut down. So that's the devaluation phase. So why don't people leave? In fact, the best time to leave is when the first time this happens. Somebody cuts you down, then they blames it on a fit of rage. And everybody is a human being. It's none of us is perfect. If you've had friends who are like that, you find someone they basically arrange you, they basically slander you, they rail you to tears, and then they blame it on, oh, I was angry, it was your fault, you caused it, something like that. So there's something called the makeup period. They try to they try to, because for the most part, when people are treated that way, they tend to back away. So to keep you from backing away, they apologize. Maybe, let's say, they make you a meal, they take you to a 5-star hotel if they can afford. So again, there's a lot of abuse here, and then there's the makeup phase. So again, just the hot and cold thing. You're really blown off your seat, and then you're brought back and massaged and pampered in your seat. So in a way, it's hot and cold. You're being pushed and pulled. So they explain it by, it was just a bad day. It was your fault. If you really loved me, you'd stay. No one is perfect. And then again, we spoke about intermittent reinforcement. So then they call you needy or clingy. So we shall do a series on attachment styles. So being needy or being clingy, this is really normal. If you've seen children, they are needy. They need their parents, and also parents need their kids. I need you as a viewer to view my videos, and then you probably need me as, let's say, what am I? A YouTuber, to make videos like this. So we need each other, okay? At least as much as this interaction is concerned. So being needy to your relationship, being needy to your partner is actually very normal. So people claim that you should not be needy, codependence. There are very few people who are really codependent. Very few people are codependent. But most people are healthy and they need you. So we spoke about attachment styles. So there are people who are more anxious, they'll need you more. Yeah, some are secure, they'll act as though they don't need you or something. So to a narcissist, you're an object and a source of narcissistic supply. We say that. So you matter to them only in relation to them, but not in your own independence of persona. So lastly, we have the discard phase. Discard comes from the term to discard, to a throw off, let's say. So during the discard phase, the narcissist abandons his or her victim in the most horrific, demeaning way possible to convince the victim that he or she is worthless. Uh, Sounds rather dark. So we say these people lack empathy at the first. So maybe they wait for you to get pregnant, then they run away, or when you're sick, or when you lose your job, that's when they go. So they abandon his or her victim in the most horrific, demeaning way possible to convince the victim that he or she is worthless. This could range from leaving the victim for another lover, humiliating the victim in public, blatantly ignoring the victim for a long period of time without any closure on the breakup, being physically aggressive, and a whole range of other demeaning behaviors to communicate to the victim that he or she is no longer important. So you might find that they actually spread rumors about you. If you thrive, they actually snoop back. I think many men can attest to this, or let's just say any person who's been a victim of narcissistic abuse or narcissistic love, let's say. So when you prosper, when you get another girlfriend or another boyfriend, they come back. They hoover back immediately. Or when you get a job, or when you seem to prosper, they come back. So that's the it seems almost miraculous. How does someone do that? So again, the answer is these people are narcissistic. They're grandiose. They see no one but themselves. They are really self-absorbed. They lack empathy. They are deceitful. They're manipulative. They're exploitative. So can you love a narcissist to a point of saving them? And the answer is no. But then sadly, some of my friends are married to people who are narcissistic. What do you tell them? I think they should read the book. There's a way to discard the narcissist while supplying yourself. Such a book, Power, actually, I think it's how to value yourself while devaluing the narcissist. You can read that. If your mother is narcissistic, if your parent is narcissistic, if your guardian is narcissistic, I think you should read such books and learn how to empower yourself, let's say. So this was today's video. I feel like I was lisping a lot. I was nervous today. So we shall do maybe how to love the unloved, and then we shall see what next from there. So good evening.